Okay, so this is to connect to the event, and we are live now, guys.
Yay.
Okay, hola, hola, hola. Bienvenidos. Welcome back to an episode of the Rocking Podcast. It's been a while, but this time we are doing it because we're having a very special event. The event is coming up at the end of August, and before we get to make the introductions, John Perez, tell us what is the name of the event, what's the date, and when is it happening?
Okay, so the event is called Praga Palooza. And
Praga
it's
Palooza.
Praga Palooza. It's an exciting and I believe going to be a lot of fun event with, it's like a festival style event with four very proggy bands. And it's going to be on August 30th at the Deep Ellum Art Company.
Okay.
The doors are going to be opening up at 3:30, and we're going to be promptly starting at 5.
Okay.
So be there and get
Deep
your
Ellum,
tickets.
Deep Ellum Art Company. When can tickets be obtained? Are they up for sale already?
They're up for sale right now. Fortunately, all the tables are sold out. However, there's general admission tickets available, and so please go into our website and Facebook, and you will find a link to it. You could go to Deep Ellum, our company's website, and there is a link to get your tickets. And so hurry because they're flying.
Okay, well, that's great news to hear that the tables have been sold out. So let me ask, who is joining us on this conversation? We have Joha Ruiz and Kurt. Let's start with Kurt first. Kurt, tell us your role in the band Close to the Yes.
Oh, what was the question?
Tell us about your role in the band
Oh,
Close to the
I
Yes.
cover all the keyboards, do all the artwork, and it's a video production and graphics. And I kind of like Rick Wakeman and Roger Dean in one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get to do both.
How do you get involved with Close to the Yes?
Um, yeah, it's really funny. I was in a Fish tribute band, um, and we had finished. We basically played for about 4 years and had to disband. And my guitarist happened to see something I think on band pages for looking for a keyboardist for a Yes tribute, and I'd already joined a Jerry Garcia, Merle Saunders tribute band like a couple weeks before that, like to kind of get back into doing music and then playing that kind of Grateful Dead jammy type stuff again. And I was like, a Yes tribute band? Like, who's doing, like, you have to be able to play the music to do that.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know, just give him a call. You could probably do it. And so anyway, that's when I found out about John, and I gave him a call and kind of got a feel for what he was wanting to do and his interest in all. And it seemed like we were really aligned in a weird way of like, he loved the music as much as I did, but I never thought I'd ever be able to play it. I just didn't
Okay.
know musicians that could play that well, or even had the interest to.
Yeah,
And
it's
so anyway, yeah, we had a great conversation. I think we talked for like an hour or so, maybe longer, and that hit it off. And then we all started getting together to. I think we had a month or so to learn 6 songs or something like that, and then we all got together and it just began.
now with the band. Yes, 6 songs means almost an hour of music.
I know it was ridiculous. It's like at least 4 songs, but it
Yeah.
was an undertaking.
Okay.
It's like,
So by now you've been together about a year and a half, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
yeah, almost 2.
Almost 2 years. Okay, now let's get to the person that hasn't introduced themselves. Joha, tell us about yourself, but particularly how did you join the band Close to the Yes?
Hey guys, my name is Joa, and yeah, so the story behind me joining the band is it's interesting. I have been on, I had like I joined this website called Bandmix, and that you can like connect with different musicians across the DFW area, and I got an email from John, but I think like I didn't see it until like 2 months or 3 months later. And and then I saw that he wanted to like start the band and like the project about the Yes music, and I give him a call, and we connect because of course I when he answers, I think we start speaking Spanish or something like that. So um just probably for your information, I'm from Colombia, so and John also speaks Spanish. His family is from Mexico, so we connect. I really got a good feeling about that, and he just told me, okay, I'm gonna send you the info. You'll need to learn these few songs for the audition, and yeah, that we took it from there. I learned remember Onward and Owner of a Lonely Heart. Those were my first two songs,
Yeah.
and my I never heard about Yes, just because of my background. So but yeah, it was great. It was great learning those songs because I really liked the music, and I just started listening to all the vocals, the instruments, and said, "Oh wow, this sounds really good. It's aligned to like to what I used to do before or what I used to sing." Um, and yeah, and that's what I really like it, and and I think like just everyone in the band is really cool, and yeah, it was a good um yeah experience overall. It's been
Okay.
great.
So that's great that you mentioned that you were a little bit unfamiliar with their music because I'm also from Latin America, and that makes them three of us in the
Yeah.
conversation. And I, of course, knew the song "Owner of a Lonely Heart," but that was it.
Hmm.
I would never call Yes a one-hit wonder, although on the pop charts,
No.
they also
Yeah.
had Run Around before that. But I was very, very unfamiliar with their music. Like
Hmm.
when John talked to me about the band Close to the Edge, I was like, why is it called Close to the Edge? And of course, later I found out that is it like their most famous album, Kurt, that it's called Close to the Edge?
Yeah, I mean that's where it was inspired from. You
Okay.
know, so
Now, would you say that Close to the Edge is somewhat their significant album, the landmark album where that got him into the public consciousness, or what's the significance of that album in their career?
I really think it is because there's nothing like that before that. It's like they were working towards that kind of concept perfection that had kind of hinted, in Fragile and in the Yes album. But I think it was really a culmination of that and Roger Dean's artwork
Mhm.
because the song "Close to the Edge" is a suite. I mean, it's 20 minutes composed, and to be opening up this gatefold album of these oceans and floating islands and the seeds of life and all that, and it's like you have time to really be with the music, and there weren't a lot of songs that just hit you right over the head right off the bat for the whole first side, that you have to be with it for 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's
um,
true. How do you discover that album? How do you discover that music? Like, I mean, Johan and myself, we both discovered it through the single from the early '80s, which was a huge hit on radio. Everybody, if they know one Yes song, it's definitely that. Some other people may know Run Around, but how did you, Kurt, to discover the band Yes?
so with that, I grew up with it. So and when I started really discovering music, from about age 10, 11, I remember hearing Starship Trooper on the radio, and I remember thinking it was an odd song. I mean, it was really cool. I didn't know who Yes was or anything. And Long Distance Runaround, you'd hear
Mhm.
both those a lot because they were shorter, somewhat short. But it was when 90125 came out that the album was being released, and I was like, oh wow, now I'm into Genesis and Rush, with Signals had come out, and the Police, Synchronicity, and then this album, and it was like it's brand new, nothing had sounded like it, and so it was funny. That was my introduction to them. It was the '80s, early '80s, yes, and then it wasn't until like 1990 that a friend of mine had seen me. I'm listening to Union and all the later stuff, and he was like, "Man, you need to get Close to the Edge, Tales from Topographic Oceans, Relayer. You need to listen to those. That's what you need to hear. And so I think I found a cassette at Sound Warehouse or something like that of all those. And it changed my life when I heard Close to the Edge. I'd never heard anything like that. And I'm not sure if I had heard Supper's Ready yet on Foxtrot, because that would have been the longest song I'd ever heard, 23 minutes long.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like then I was just hooked. I could not get enough of early Yes, because from a keyboardist standpoint, I could never play anything like that back then. I didn't even know where to begin, but I was blown away by everybody in the band, and more so keyboards and drums, because I love drums. But then it started making me aware of what guitars were doing, what basses were doing, and the vocals too, and the lyrical content. It just opened up a Pandora's box.
So, in your case, John, how was your story? How do you discover the band the band Yes?
Oh my goodness, my story goes back to many moons ago. The story went this way. So I was 9 years old, right? And my brothers, they relayed me this story. This is how it happened. That instead of spending $5 back in that day to, get a babysitter, they bought me a ticket to go to a rock show.
So they didn't want to pay for the babysitter.
They didn't want to pay for the babysitter. Say, you know what? Let's take them to the rock show.
Where was this?
And this was in Chicago, where I was born and raised. So they took me to see Yes in the round. I was 9 years old. Wow. Very first show ever. And it happened to be Yes. And it was such an amazing, experience. Can you imagine this? 9 years old, very impressionable. You're walking into, and we got there late, because they went and bought the tickets late and all that stuff. But you walking into an arena with 10,000 people there, right? You're 9 years old. You're walking in, and the first thing you see is the lights, right? And all the amount of bass and guitar and drums and all of this, so loud, it's incredible, right? And walking towards the stage, and I'm looking up, and then I see these people in the middle of the arena, and all the lights going, and they're playing and smiling and playing and smiling, and you're looking at it. And so I remember very clearly as we were lost trying to find our seats, and we're walking towards the stage, and it so happened that we were on the side where the bass player was, and guess who that is? Chris Squire, right? I still remember to this day that, I was looking up, and he looked, and he did a double take, because, he sees a 9-year-old little kid in the arena. So he did a double take, and he even pointed and smirked.
Wow.
And went and did one of these and keep playing, and he even went like that. And I was like, oh my God, that was amazing, right? So from that point forward, I was already, obviously I've never heard of any rock music or anything like that. And that was my introduction to rock music, and especially Yes. Right?
Wow.
Yeah. So that was my introduction to Yes.
So you've known Yes for longer than you've known any of the other bands, even on the bill. Not longer than you know the music of Rush or the music of Led Zeppelin.
Well, here's the awesome stuff about that is at that same year, again, my brother said, we're not going to go get a babysitter. We're going to take my brother to all these shows, right? So I got to see, that was Yes in 1978, 79.
Yeah.
And that's the Tormato tour, right? My favorite album, Tormato. Love it, love it, love it. And so that same year, I went to see Rush, okay? And that was their Hemisphere tour, 1979. And then I went to see Jethro Tull. And then I went to see Genesis, 1979. And then I got to see Queen. I got to see Freddie Mercury. Come on now, Queen, right? So I had the fortune to have been able to see Kansas.
Hmm.
Oh,
Back in the day.
back in the day, those were yeah. Back in the day, I feel old now, but happy, but
Bill.
happy because I got to see all these bands. They were at the peak of their music making and their
Yeah.
peak of playing music, and it was such a great time for everyone whoever got a chance to go see these bands. And you know what? That's kind of why this Praga happened. You know, I was thinking, who would have loved to have seen Yes and Rush and Genesis
All in one place.
all in one place, and King Crimson.
It would be
Come
a
on now.
dream.
It would have been a dream, right, for
Ugh.
everyone. And you know what? We don't have many of those bands anymore around, right?
Yeah,
We don't.
that's
Well,
true.
unfortunately, we don't have Rush. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we don't have them anymore.
Well, some
And,
people would claim that you don't even have Yes anymore because the touring.
exactly, yeah,
It's fractioned.
a fraction of it, right? But yeah, you're right. You don't have the seminal lineup, right? You don't have Chris, you don't have Alan, et cetera, et cetera. So again, even King Crimson, you don't have the full King Crimson anymore. So my point of this whole thing was, hey, I think, we all love this music, right? And we would love to play it for even new generations, new audiences, right? That could experience it, especially experience it by people that are putting a lot of work into it. Like Joha is putting so much work on, learning how Jan Anderson sings these songs and the spirit he puts into them, and she's doing an amazing job of just, we go it. Come on, Kurt, you could say it. We
Oh,
leave it
she
all.
blows me away. Yeah,
get blown
I
away.
smile. I
Yeah,
smile when
absolutely.
he hits those just soaring notes. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just-
she does a great job, and
Yeah.
Kurt does an amazing job. Doing Rick Wakeman. We have Jonathan, who's also a second keyboard player that does a lot of extra stuff, keyboards and percussions and all singing, right, to complement Joha. And we got our bass player Brian Barton, who does an amazing Chris
Yeah.
Clark and does a lot of great singing. And Hector Peña, who's our guitar player, who also leaves us out playing Trevor Rabin, Steve Howell, and all of these other guitar players. They've been part of Yes. So
Okay. So, Joha, how do you manage being surrounded by these passionate people that love the music inside and out when somehow you're just getting to discover it? Because there must be some pressure, to live up to the expectations. These are guys that love the music for what? At least 35 years? No, 45 years.
yeah,
And that they discover the records and put them together and deconstruct them piece by piece. They must have high expectations of your work leading the band with your vocals. How do you manage that pressure?
Mm, well, I think when you're passionate about, what you do, uh, you have a gift, right? Like John has a gift, Kurt has a gift, everyone has a gift by playing an instrument. So my instrument is my voice. So I'm very passionate about that. I like it. I connect well with all the members of the band. They're all cool. It's easy to work with them. I think we all set up expectations on when we need to have things done, and I think everyone is clear on like the expectations we have for every rehearsal, that which is getting better and better, and try to work on individually on our own pieces of what we need to learn.
Hmm.
And I think when you do your job and you're passionate about what you're doing, I think it's easier to manage all of that and um, meet expectations.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, now that's about the band members. How about band followers, people that might follow the Facebook page or might come to the live shows? Because when it comes to tribute bands, there's the group of people that just wants to enjoy the music, that it's okay with us as long as they
Hmm.
play the music. But there's other groups of people that want a more faithful reproduction. Like for example, if the original band was a trio, they want to see a trio on stage. If yes, the singer is a male vocalist, they are sometimes playing. Well, yes, had a male vocalist. Why do you have a girl? Why don't you get a male vocalist that can hit the higher notes? Have you heard
Right.
any feedback on that? What are your thoughts, Joha?
Well, yeah, go ahead, Johan. I'll give you my 2 cents.
I know, yeah, it's like why there can be women representing uh like the singing this kind of music, right? Why? That is a question, or where people in like the 21st century is still questioning that, like, oh, like the women singing, yes, like, oh, why? What the hell? Like, why is not a man? Like, why women cannot do that same, even like better, right? Like not like with respect, of course, any man can do it, but Jonah Anderson, it has a very high range of like voice. It's really hard for like a man. Probably not every man had the kind of range, the high pitch, the high notes. So it's not that common. So why not like a woman can have the opportunity to do that, to perform and do a great job, and also represent, uh be like, give it that modern touch of
Okay.
like to the music, still respecting every part of the songs and the melodies, the versions, trying to stick to the original versions, but just with a different, um yeah, kind of like coach. And of course we have I'm the lead singer, but also we have the older vocals. We have Brian, we have Jonathan, which are supporting, of course, that older, like the older vocals. So just to make it sound more like bold and fuller, and it's just not like a female representation of the music, or like, you know.
Okay. Well, it's good to hear that you take pride in the work and that you're well aware that it's about honoring the music, regardless of, because there's many things that could be said about it. Now, let's hear John. You had some opinions about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that whole topic, I think, has been starting to be debunked very quickly. Why? Because for one, yes, I understand that many people would like to see Rush as three people. They would like to see Yes as tribute as only five people, or even a Pink Floyd band with only four, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And all male, because that was a male dominated type of music industry at that time. However, that is being debunked very quickly with there's many Rush tribute bands out there. Why not?
Sure.
Clockwork Angels, and I could go on and on, right? Even other Rush tribute bands that have all male, and there's four and not three. So I think really it is about us as fans of the music wanting to do the best job possible to recreate that music. And at times it requires more than one, more
Okay.
than four, more than five. You know why? Because even let's look at John Anderson. He's touring with Band of Geeks, right? They are professional musicians. They could play the stuff, and it takes seven of them to do it, right? Two keyboard players, two guitar players, one drummer, one bass player, one chorus, and John Anderson. So it's all about, do you want to hear the songs as closely as they were written? It's going to take more people.
Yeah.
But here's the key. Here's the key to me. I'd rather see six people, seven people out there recreating the music, but live. No backing tracks, no all kinds of technology to do all the work.
Hmm.
I'd rather see more people out there and playing it, right? And so that's why I feel that this whole I don't think it's an issue anymore,
Okay.
because there's a lot of, look, there's a couple of Journey bands out there with female singers.
Yeah. True.
and they do an amazing job. So kudos for whoever sings them. As long as they do a good job at it, that's all that matters, really, right?
Well, I particularly agree with the stance that you said. Whatever it takes to recreate the music as faithfully as possible, because we're talking about world class musicians that have done this for 40 years. That some of them have lost, the range that they used to have. Some of them have moved away from the band. But this is a tribute. This is a local show. This is an opportunity to enjoy the music locally. And now that we go back to that opportunity of enjoying the show locally, Kurt, what do you think about the mix of bands? Why don't you tell us again which bands are going to be performing and what is this kind of opportunity for the people that love prog rock?
Yeah, like John said, it's kind of a rare opportunity to see, four really high caliber bands from the progressive rock type attitude in one place, and to catch. The other thing that's really awesome is that the three of the bands are going to be performing entire albums.
Oh yeah.
So not only are we playing the entire Close to the Edge album, which we're debuting, that the Rush Clockwork Angels is going to do all of Moving Pictures, and the Zeppelin band, the Zeppelin project is going to be doing all of Houses of the Holy, which is one of my favorites too, and of course King Crimson will be bringing a little bit from each decade that they hit, so you get a little bit of 60s, 70s, 80s all in one concert, which you wouldn't see even when the Beach Show came. That was the Adrian Belew 80s, which had been missing for so long, when with King Crimson touring with the 70s material and 60s and 70s. So anyway, it's as I said, it's a rare opportunity to be able to catch Rush, yes, and Zeppelin and and King Crimson all in one place. Just talk about more music per square inch than you'd ever see in one night. You probably should leave vibrating. I hope so.
How do you guys decide? How do you guys decide on choosing the album Close to the Edge to be performing full? Because that's a mighty task. It's not easy, but why that album, and how do you set on the idea? Let's play a full album.
Yeah, so we had talked about that. We'd already been. I guess we have about 16, 18 songs we've been playing, and we had, I think, we had 3/4 of it. So we'd been playing, at least, two of the three of the four songs, but and it just kind of seemed natural that once we started tackling Heart of the Sunrise, which was, a monumental effort, and getting into that kind of complexity, that it kind of seemed like the next logical choice would be to try to take on the suite. And then once we got close to that, we're like, okay, let's do the album. Let's just do the whole thing. And it kind of fell in suit with the other bands that were going to do something similar, for familiarity, and that those albums are amazing. I mean, talk about the time that those came out. Nothing had sounded like that.
True.
So it's kind of exciting.
Okay. All right. So it's gonna be a great show. I'm gonna ask John to repeat the details of the event again before we go on to the last question that I have prepared for each of you. Tell us again, John, where is this show, when, the date, and mention the website where they can be finding tickets, because you said there's tickets already available.
Yep, they are. Okay, so again, it's August 30th. We're going to be at the Deep Ellum Art Company. We're going to be opening doors 3:30, and probably start the show at 5 p.m. And they can get tickets at Prinkandel, I believe is the name of the website. And the tickets are available for general. Unfortunately, the tables are sold out. However, there's general admission. Come and have a good time with, again, King Crimson. You're gonna have you're gonna have Rush. You're gonna have Zepp. It's gonna be a monumental prog day. So I think you could all have enjoy a good time, listening to this stuff.
Great.
It's really good music.
Yeah. So,
Johan,
Wilmer,
go
I
ahead.
wanted to mention one thing also. I played every club in Deep Ellum over the last 30 years in multiple bands. And I just have to tell you that the Deep Ellum Art Company is the best venue in town. The staff that works there are incredible. They get the best sound. Okay, the guys that own it love art and music and love the local scene, and it's just an incredible place for sound, state of the art lighting, lasers, LEDs, video backdrops that get projected behind us while we're playing.
Uh-huh.
And it's just going to be just an incredible place to see a concert if you've never been there before.
Yeah, I've been there one time and it was a really great show. And it also has this wonderful patio to the side so that you can walk to the side without missing your spot. In other places, you have to walk all the way to the back. Yoha, what would you say to people like you and me that discovered the band through their pop single that are not, I'm still not fully familiar with the band, although I've been listening to the album Close to the Edge on high rotation to get familiarized. What would you say to invite those people that are not fully familiar with prog rock? Why should they give this show a shot?
Because it's music that it's not composed. It's music that is you don't hear or listen anymore. There's no bands. There's no art like this anymore. So that's from the 70s and the 80s. It's something very unique from that era, from all those musicians back in the days, that it's something that we don't hear from any bands, any new bands anymore. And and when I listen to that at, at my age, it's like, oh my gosh, I wish I could live in that era because
Hmm.
the music was just pure gold. It was like well elaborate vocals. It has more meaning. It has more work. So just real work on the music, real art. Like people really think and work hard to like create those masterpieces. And I think that's something you don't really listen anymore. Like technology is cool and all of that, but I think that kind of like help people to not think that hard as probably people used to do it before, and be more like artistic or be more creative with their music. So definitely that's something that you don't listen nowadays, and it's just something that needs to be like keep like be promoted, and I think like the way in which we have been doing it with tribute band is the best way to like keep like sharing this legacy that these great artists have like left.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely true. You said a few things that I completely agree with. The opportunity to listen to live music created by real musicians that honors this era of the 70s and
Hmm.
80s, in which music was done
Hmm.
differently. Kurt, you are somehow the mastermind behind a lot of the arrangements and composition. What can we expect musically? How faithful are going to be reproductions of the songs? Are they going to be trying to veer towards famous live versions, towards the studio versions?
So we really try to make a point, as John always says, listen to the details. Pay attention to the details, because those little iconic things that you hear in the music that make the music so special are what, you know, you need to really nail down. And so we really try hard, everybody in the band, to really practice that and bring that out and try to nail those iconic signposts that when you hear them, you're just like, that's it. You can sing along with the solo. You can the looks on people's faces when you're playing the notes that they know is priceless when you get it down, and you know that you're doing it. You know that you're making it. You're honoring the music the best that you can. You
That's
know.
true. Okay, John, you're going to be pulling
Yes.
up double duty. So we've been talking about Close to the Yes, but close up this conversation telling us about the other band that's going to be performing that you're going to be part of. It's going to be the live debut.
Well, okay. I'm really excited about what's happening with that debut. for Shitsoy Band, King Crimson tribute band. Um, all I could say is come on down and just give yourself the chance to hear this tribute. Um, I really would just like to leave it at that. I would like people to just come and check them out. And all I could say is a special thing. I mean, it is a special thing that's going to be happening with all of these tributes that are really putting a lot of time and effort. Okay, and I will say this, what we're doing is no different than what, and I'm not comparing ourselves to an orchestra, right? But we are doing something very similar. We are learning, these masterpieces Joha mentioned, and we're really trying to reproduce them as closely as they can, just like any orchestra is trying to work on a Stravinsky or a Beethoven song, right? Or a masterpiece, if you will. We're trying to do the same thing. What's awesome about this, and it is just not just these prog bands that are putting so much time and effort. Look at all the other tribute bands out there here in the DFW area. They're putting a lot of time, sweat, and tears to what they're doing, right? And trying to reproduce that music, that was so famous on the radio and MTV and all that good stuff, and put it out there for people to really enjoy. So that's what we're doing. Just come on down and check us out. I think you'll go home smiling and happy, because we have not only very very great digestible music, but at the same time we're gonna have some music to make you think of what complex music is about, right? So come on down and check it out.
Okay.
And one last thing about the King Crimson thing, they are considered one of the elite bands in Prague, right? If not the godfathers of it, probably the fathers of Prague. And there could be a debate about who started it or whatever, right? But this band has to happen. It has to be out there so people can really truly enjoy real true awesome Prague.
Awesome. Okay, so a tribute to King Crimson starting off the show at 5 p.m. or is 5 p.m. doors?
No, 5 p.m. starts the show
Okay.
promptly. Doors open at 3:30.
Okay.
So again, get your tickets. And I just want to mention that the Deep Ellum, our company, is just right by the police station, right next door, basically.
Just in case there's people are scared of going to Deep Ellum.
There's
No,
no reason.
no.
There's no reason to be. They're very
No.
much.
I've been there so many times by myself at all times.
I just wanted to mention that to everyone. Please, no, they're on the east end of
Yeah.
Deep Ellum. They're right by the police station. That Deep Ellum, by the way, the art company venue hosts a lot of national bands.
True.
Okay,
That's right.
and they just recently sold out. On Wednesday, 600 people. They had another show. It was more like 400 people, and without incidents.
That's
Right. So want to make sure everybody understands that yes, there's some blemishes everywhere, right?
Indeed.
However, this hopefully gives you a little peace. Come on down, enjoy the show. I've been to the venue as well. Top equipment for sound, top equipment for lights. They have a great crew. It's clean. It's nice. Parking is nice. It's well lit. Everything's
AC.
great. Great AC.
Great AC. Hey,
you won't
Kurt,
be
that
sweating all
was
over
a
the
clincher. If there was any doubt, that's a clincher.
Exactly. Awesome AC. And so come on down and enjoy it. I mean, it's art. Come on.
Okay, August 30th, Pragapalooza, tribute to King Crimson, opening the show at 5 p.m. So be there on time if you want to catch King Crimson. Then we're going to have Clockwork Angels, the tribute to Rush, playing the full album Moving Pictures. Then we're gonna have Close to the Yes playing the full album Close to the Edge,
Mm.
and then we're gonna have the Zeppelin Project playing the full album Houses of the Holy. One of my
That's
favorite
right.
local tribute bands, the Zeppelin Project as well. So we're gonna be catching up with some other bands in the next couple of weeks. The show is August 30th at the Deep Ellum Art Company. John, Joha, Kurt, thank you so much, and we will see you at the show, guys.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Cheers.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Bye.
Bye.